Hello and welcome to Mary Makes. I'm Mary and today I'll be sharing with you how much my crochet business made in my first 12 months of operating. Last week, September 1st, was my business's first anniversary. I consider that my business's first anniversary because it's like the day Mary Makes became an official business entity. And I shared with you all a video about how and why I started. So check out that video for more of the qualitative information about my business. In this video today, I'll be sharing with you the quantitative data. I think numbers tell a story, so I'll be walking you through month by month what happened. And my goal with this video today is really to just share the story of my first year using numbers. Before we dive in, I want to share additional information that I feel is relevant and important to you as you watch this video. So here are some key facts about me and my personal circumstances. First, I set aside $2,000 of my personal money that I made from my day job to start Mary Makes. Starting a business can be very risky, and I don't want to give you the wrong idea about the downsides of business. I also would never, ever encourage you to take a risk that you couldn't shoulder or that would be devastating to you. I think a lot of business owners do take out loans to start their business, and I didn't do that. Along the same lines here, I always pay off my credit card in full every month. I just never carry a balance. Second, Mary Makes is my side hustle. I pay my bills with my full-time job, and I like it this way. Third, I had prior experience selling my handmade crocheted items, so I didn't start Mary Makes being completely new to crocheting. It's kind of cool, so I'll share a little bit about this experience. I went to Colorado College where I taught knitting and crochet classes for my arts and crafts department, and I participated in the annual arts and crafts fair as a student. The student experience was wonderful. I got to experience trying to be a handmade artisan at a maker fair without having the responsible adulty things. Since we were all part of the program, I really just focused on making my items, seeing how customers reacted to it, and refined them and got better year by year. The program provided me with all my materials, the displays, and all I had to give in return was a percentage of the sales that I made. So based on that previous experience, when I started Mary Makes, I was pretty sure I wasn't going to go negative, and I had some idea of how much I could make at one of these in-person craft fair events. So now that you've got this important background information, let's dive in. So when I started in August/September of 2022, I began by setting up my craft room. I spent $723 on furnishing it with additional shelving, a desk, a table, my ring light, and just pegboards, just getting my space set up. In addition to the $723, I also spent exactly $250 to get my business registered, get my sales tax license for my state, and pay for my marymakes.com website domain, as well as pay the introductory rate for a 1-year Shopify plan. Shopify is the company that hosts my website. And additionally, I spent $450 in materials and packaging. The packaging included stuff like boxes, crinkle paper, mailing bags, tissue paper, all that kind of general stuff like packing tape and shipping labels. Because now that I did have my shiny new website, I wanted to be ready in case I made a sale online. At this point though, I didn't make any sales online. My website was really new. Nobody had heard of it. Social media was hard. But I think it is so important to have friends and family that support you. So I did make $275 in friends and family sales. So in September, I ended the month at negative $1,148. The next month, October, is where it gets a little spicier. I had decided to do the Fort Collins Holiday Gift Festival, so I registered for that event, and the fee to have one table there was $140. So to prepare for this event, I had a lot of one-time purchases. I bought things like folding tables, tablecloths, small chalkboards to like write descriptions and prices on, and then I had to buy physical displays to put my items on. I even bought like a custom stamp with my logo on it so that I could brand my packaging. And yeah, more packaging. I bought paper bags so that customers didn't just have to walk away holding the item they just bought. I also bought a card reader so that I'd be able to accept credit card payments. And since this event was going to happen in December of 2022 and it was still kind of a COVID Christmas, I also bought bottles of large hand sanitizer or large bottles of hand sanitizer and masks. So in this category of like one-time event prep and supplies, I spent $595. I know that sounds like a lot, but a lot of these items I think were a really good investment in my business because now I have the stuff to just go and do another in-person market. I also had some specific things in mind that I wanted to make, so classic me, I did buy more yarn and materials and patterns and stuff. I spent $454 in this category this month. I did make $187 in more friends and family sales, which brings my October total to negative $1,102. And now if I combine my October with my August/September, my running total for my business is negative $2,150. Oof. I was a little more spendy and had spent a little more than I set aside. Nothing catastrophic, but yeah. In November, it does get a bit better. I only spent $182 on materials, yarn, stuffing, crochet patterns, that category of stuff. I did find out that the Colorado College Arts and Crafts Fair was happening, so I paid a table fee of $150 for that event. This month, I did have more friends and family sales, and I made about $682 in sales. I also opened a business bank account with one of those introductory offers, so this month is when I received the $300 for opening that bank account. So whew, with that, November was looking up. I was positive $650 for this month, which brings my running total for Mary Makes to only negative $1,500. Okay, finally, it's December and it's time to table at the craft fairs I signed up for. It was a crazy weekend since the Colorado College Craft Fair was on Friday and Saturday, and the Fort Collins Craft Fair was that same weekend, Sunday. The events were awesome. They had great turnout. I felt like people were revenge shopping. I got to see people from my college community again, and I just remember how happy I was to be back since the pandemic obviously canceled the 2020 and 2021 events. In total, over this weekend, I made $4,102. Of course, these events do come with expenses. My husband did stay with me all weekend at the tables, and even though I don't have to pay him to carry all my items, we've still got to eat, drive, park, and pay sales tax. So we did spend about $502 in total craft fair and craft fair associated expenses. So this brings my final total to $2,100. And honestly, this exceeded my expectations for Mary Makes. Like, as a student, I feel like I typically made around $1,000 at this event. So the fact that I quadrupled in sales and was at a net positive for my business after spending so much to start it up, it was like so crazy to me. I was so happy. And of course, what did I do with it all? I spent it. I wanted to reinvest it back into Mary Makes because remember, I don't need this money to pay my bills. That's what the day job is for. This is the fun side hustle that I want to enhance. So I bought a legit laptop that can run video editing software. This cost me $1,560, and then I spent the remaining $540 or so that I had left on like yarn, a craft cart, a yarn ball winder, and yarn swift, and I just restocked general office supplies to end 2022 at like pretty much $0. Note, I do work with a CPA who helps me like file my taxes and do all the financial stuff so that I can focus on like the fun stuff, like making money and buying yarn. Oh, I also should add that during this time, in addition to my full-time job and Mary Makes, I was working on a big certification for work. So I had evening classes twice a week and homework and tests, and it was like manageable before Christmas. But once January hit, my focus was completely on work and school. In January of 2023, I made $0 in sales, and I only spent like $91 on like miscellaneous ink, clearance, half crates, and like just like supplies that I thought were a good deal. And I figured starting the year at -91 wasn't a big deal because I could probably make it back at least by the 2023 holiday. So I'm -$91 and I'm going into February, and like I'm completely focused on school and preparing for the certification exam in March. I'm so glad that I wasn't somebody who procrastinates, probably due to the block plan at Colorado College. It's cool, Google it. Anyways, because I got the bulk of my studying and learning done in January, I could be just reviewing, practicing, and maintaining in February, because in February I went viral on Instagram with this video that I posted way back in November, and it was such a crazy experience. I just remember my phone was constantly vibrating because somebody new was following me or somebody had shared my reel, and anyways, it was just so overwhelming. And I had made these jumbo dinos for my craft fairs in December, but none of them sold, probably because I was asking a lot for what would be conceived as like an impulse purchase. They hadn't seen them before. So I had just listed them on my website after the craft fair, and they all sold because this Instagram reel went viral. I made $2,878 in sales this month, and I spent like $1,366 on additional materials, stuffing, and shipping and packaging. From this month on, it's important for me to share with you that my data is gross sales, which includes what customers pay to ship the items that they buy. Because I have international shipping, I decided that it was unfair to like disguise the price of shipping into the price of my items, because it's wildly different. The cost for me to ship something domestically versus the cost for me to ship something across the world. So the gross sales number does include shipping, and then the expense number includes shipping as well. But that brings my February total to $1,512, and I'm now at a positive $1,421 for 2023. Crazy. So I didn't list any additional items on my website in February because I was so focused on my exam. However, while I was studying, I was stress crocheting. I made like 40 more jumbo dinos that I listed on my website at the end of March after the exam was over. And the thing about having a crochet business is that there's a ceiling. There's a limit to how much you can crochet. So what was unique about my March restock was that it included all of my unsold items from the craft fairs I had prepared for from last year, and it included like 5 or 6 weeks of me stress crocheting because of my exam. So I made in March $14,560 in sales. I know it was wild. Like, look at this picture of our car with all the dinosaurs packed up, ready to be shipped out. And this is only half of what we took to the post office. Anyways, for expenses for March, I spent about $3,458. About 60% of this number is the shipping expense that I mentioned earlier, and the rest is just more yarn and stuffing. Oh, and this month I also paid for business cards and thank you notes as well, which brings my March total to $11,102. And now at this point in my business, I'm at a positive 12,523. And like, this just far outpaced any I didn't expect this with Mary Makes at all. I still think it's so crazy. Like, I would have to be able to prep for months to be able to stock as much stuff as I did in March. So anyways, over the next couple months, I continued this behavior of like crocheting as much as I could over the course of the month, and then listing all of my items for sale at the end of the month. It honestly made me pretty crazy, and I slowed it down over the next months. So there's not a lot of story to tell with April, May, June, July, and August, because now at this point, I think I'm, what's the word? Coasting. And so I'll just hit the numbers. Just remember the gross sales and the expenses includes shipping. So in April, I made $7,301 and had expenses of $3,115. So my April total is $4,186, and my 2023 total is $16,709. In May, I made $6,607 and I had expenses of $2,307. So my May total is $4,300, and that brings my business 2023 total to $21,009. In June, I made $5,023 and had expenses of only $1,291. So my June total is $3,732, and my 2023 total profit is now $24,741. In July, I made $5,341 and I had expenses of $2,132. So my July total is $3,209, which brings my 2023 total to now $27,950. I was very spendy in July because my local yarn boutique was participating in the Wild and Woolly Yarn Crawl, and I bought something at each of the yarn stores I went to, and I went to some of the stores multiple times. No regrets. Money is made to be spent. Anyways, today is August 17th. As I'm recording this, and so I don't have a complete picture of August yet. So far, I've only racked up $113 in expenses this month, and I've made $933. So to make this video as current as possible, that brings my August total so far to $820, and my 2023 total to $28,770. So there it is. After 1 year in business and a lot of expenses, I have made a net positive of $28,770. I shared with you all the numbers of my business, and I hope you found this interesting. I do think if I personally wasn't so spendy, I think my net positive $28,770 could be a little higher, but Mary Makes is my fun side hustle. And I think it's so important to just be enthusiastic and have fun with your side hustle. Because I don't have the pressure of having to pay the bills with Mary Makes, I have a lot of freedom with Mary Makes. I'm just here to crochet things and buy yarn. Oh, and remember that this number does not include what I'm going to have to pay in income tax. I'll let my CPA deal with that when I file my 2023 taxes, But just know that when you're self-employed, you pay both the employer and employee part of FICA taxes, which is more than you'd pay if you were simply employed by somebody else. You just pay the employee part. Of course, I'm not a tax accountant. I'm not a professional. Go do your research and go see somebody when it comes to this kind of stuff. I do want to add that I didn't share how many hours I put into my business, and honestly, it's a lot. If you crochet, then you know how long it takes to make each individual items. For me, even though I'm fast, like a mini dinosaur, check out my mini dino pattern, it still takes me about an hour to make, and my jumbo dinosaur takes me almost 8 hours to make, and then everything else is some amount of time in between. So if I'm being real about my side hustle, it is just my fun side hustle that I can do from home. For the amount of hours that I put into my business, not just crocheting and making the items to sell, but like to do the other things like making content, connecting with my audience, and doing other business responsibilities like bookkeeping and packaging or packing orders. I have no doubt that my wage is like less than $10 an hour. Not to mention, I do get a lot of help from my husband and other family members, and they help me for free. So if you're watching of this and you're thinking about starting your own handmade business, I don't want to discourage you from doing it. Pursue your dreams, start a business, but I think it's important to consider if your circumstances allow for you to have a period of time where you're not profitable, where you don't make money, where you're probably even negative. If you have to pay the bills right now, I think it's more realistic to get a job that'll pay you for your hours right away. But if you're like me, you already have another job paying the bills, and you probably would spend around, I don't know, $2,000 or more on your hobby anyways, then I say why not? Let me know in the comments if you found this video interesting and want to see more about Mary Makes and about how I do this. Don't worry, there are still more crochet tutorials on the way. It's just crochet tutorials take me a lot longer to make than this type of video. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found my story and my first year experience interesting. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel and follow me on my journey with Mary Makes. I'm posting videos every week now, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.